education, the fourth domestic policy issue. It seems to me self-evident that the key to education is to see the point of it, and the point of it is to do with being and doing. By being, I mean that education enables you to be happy and to have an interesting life and to appreciate good things and to be happy as a grown-up, and to know that you're in an interesting world and see things of beauty and have a good life, which you can't so much if you haven't got a good education. But also doing, people are needed, young people are needed when they grow up, and we want a good education to fit them for a really useful job, doing some good in the world, at home or abroad. And so the key to getting education right, I don't think is the detail of who runs the school, or whether it's a free school or an academy or things like that. I think the main thing is to see what education is for, and it's to introduce you to a fascinating world out there, and also to equip you to be useful in that fascinating world. Now, I think also that we need to raise expectations. The trouble about that is that there are a lot of really damaged people out there. The people coming from broken families, coming from great poverty, coming from families where there's been no work for generations, and where it's not cool among their peers to learn. This is a really grievous problem, and it's so difficult to get over. But I don't think tinkering with the educational system, the school system, is really the key thing that is going to give way to progress in this. I think the key thing is us grown-ups doing good stuff with our lives, making the world a better place, being the kind of people, the kind of society that children can see is energetic, is good, wholesome, something that they want to be involved in doing, and an interesting world. In other words, something, to grow up being happy. Sorry, I can't do this doing and being thing, but school education isn't all about just your usefulness to society. Education is to enable you to have an interesting life and to see that it's an interesting, fascinating world out there. Lots of things to explore and so on, to be interested in everything. And it's a happy way to live, but it's also a useful way to live. So people need to be useful. They need to be happy and to see that it's an interesting world. And then I think we can get somewhere. And we've got to get there. Got to get somewhere the first time round. I mean, there's talk about sort of being educated as an adult because you didn't pay attention when you were at school, or something militated against you paying attention when you were at school. Well, I understand that's never very successful, and really it's important to get it right first time round. What age should children start to go to school? Well, I mean, it depends what kind of structure we have, but I think it's very unfortunate if mothers have such pressure to go back to work after having the baby that that we look for places to park children, and some of that is preschool, and that we do that really because the mothers want to be going out to work, either because they have to or because our appetites have increased and we want the money. I'm treading on eggshells there, but in Germany they don't send their children to school until they're considerably older than in Britain. And I don't think there should be a rush to going out to school, and I think the role of being a mother needs to be exalted and appreciated. People shouldn't not want to be mothers and want to be workers because that has esteem. Being a mother of small children is a really, really important thing, and it's very good for the nation as a whole if we have well-balanced kids growing up to be adults. And then how about this divide between comprehensives and on the one hand, and grammar schools and secondary moderns and technical schools that used to be on the other? I live in Birmingham. I've got, we've had a good experience of grammar schools here, and personally, I think there should be lots of grammar schools, and I don't think there's any shame really in finding out what sort of education is suitable for people. And if they want an education, I think all education of teenagers should be, should be really constructive. People should be encouraged to settle down to it, which they will be if they can see the grown-ups of their lives and the grown-ups they see around them on television and stuff like that, doing something that is obviously something that they can do because they got a good education. It'll inspire them to use their school years to good effect, and not to muck around in class. But having said that, I think that grammars are fine, and I think if people want to settle down to academic work and get a good grounding in maths, languages, sciences, and stuff, and English and things like that, then that's good, and I think that is best organised in grammar schools. But I also think that technical education is something we need a lot of, and we've got to get over the feeling that sort of failing an 11 plus leaves you as a failure in life. I suppose it'd be nice to find some other word other than fail and pass, but we need people. Germany, I'm sure, isn't the answer to everything, but their education system, I think, is very interesting because they have gymnasium, which is roughly equivalent to our grammar schools, and they have technical high schools, which kit people out really well for an education which will make them really good technical people. In manufacturing and in engineering and in all sorts of other things like that, which society needs, and there should be absolutely no stigma about that at all. And in fact, we need them very, very much, and we can't have everybody being intellectual if we can't actually roll up our sleeves and make the stuff of society work. So. And I think the way to overcome the feeling that to have a technical education is some stigma to be ashamed of and sort of riled at is to be going somewhere as a country, to be achieving things, and to have a lively national life. I'm at risk of waffling there, but I think it's important. And if we're going somewhere, if we know how to use technical people and have got the opportunities for them to get really valued employment, which we should make, then getting a good technical education is a good thing, that people can feel really happy and is comfortable for them and really uses their abilities. These things are really important. And I've got a separate bit about university fees, which really covers university life, which I think should be funded by the government. I think it was probably a mistake to say that we wanted 50% of our young people to go to university. It wasn't the right way forward, but particularly if we're burdening them with some huge debts to go down that route. But we do want, obviously, our universities to be lively places which are doing good research, teaching undergraduates really well so that they come out with a really good education which actually equips them to do stuff. Because actually there have been criticisms that even engineering graduates and so on sometimes haven't really got the best engineering education in practice for practical work that they might have. I had the benefit of a sort of vocational training really because of being a doctor, even though I only partly used it. But we've got to make sure that the educational system is really well suited to achieving things and being a good society. Thanks very much.